Your initial thoughts on this resumption of hostilities that took place a little over 5 hours ago in Gaza?
It's an interesting conundrum because the Israelis are claiming they want the hostages back, and yet they're willing to carpet bomb apartments, hospitals, churches, mosques. There's really no place that's safe. So why would they believe that they wouldn't kill their own hostages? And then they'll say, well, they're down with Hamas in the tunnels. Okay, well then if you're admitting that your bombing's not going to hit the hostages, then it's not going to hit Hamas either because they're together. Then why are you doing it? If you know that you're not hurting the military whatsoever or the militia group, you're just blowing up people's homes and murdering innocent civilians by the tens of thousands. And in addition to that, they're also attacking the West Bank, where there is no Hamas or hostages. And they've bombed that with the Air Force and artillery, too. So it's pretty clear that that's just camouflage. Israel wants to annex more territory and murder Palestinians as an act of revenge because they got humiliated on October 7th.
And Ryan, it seems like world leaders all week scrambled, including Western leaders, scrambled to try to extend this temporary ceasefire beyond this 5 a.m. Or 5:0500 GMT deadline this morning. My question to you, what happened? How did they fail the Palestinians? Why did we not see the same level of urgency from the regime in Tel Aviv, Washington, or London?
They can say they're putting pressure on the Israelis, but I don't think that's in earnest whatsoever, especially from the United States. If they wanted Israel to maintain a ceasefire, all they would have to do is say not another dime, and it would end right now. So when they're saying, well, we're talking to them, we're negotiating, no, you're not. I understand European states don't have as much leverage, but the United States was giving Israel $4 billion a year, every year annually, and completely props up the Likud government. Could end this any second they wanted by cutting off aid. They could register AIPAC under the Foreign Registration Act. There's many things they could do. So they're not being serious about this.
And so, thus, we are witnessing, Ryan, a resumption of hostilities. My question to you, to what end? And is that end, that objective the Israelis and the Americans want to attain, is it realistic?
No, this is them mowing the lawn. They got caught with their pants down on October 7th. And I know they were warned. They had plans. They got warned by the Egyptians, but they didn't take any of it seriously. I spoke with Scott Ritter about this, and apparently the Israelis relied too much on AI and didn't think Hamas could get over the wall or through the wall. They underestimated them. And Hamas was able to go in and capture many hostages, which they could use to negotiate to get all the hostages that Israel has taken, or all the prisoners they've taken, without charges or trumped up charges. That was the whole point of the attack. It's not as if they thought they were going to march all the way to Tel Aviv or something. They were grabbing people to use as negotiating chips to get their own people back that Israel goes and takes. And Israel murdered over 200 Palestinians this year before October 7th. So something had to give. No one was paying attention. We can see how this was, but Israel doesn't have a plan. They say they're going to eradicate Hamas. Okay, back in 2006, they said they would wipe out Hezbollah and that they would get their captured soldiers back. Neither one happened. They will not be able to wipe out Hamas. They're not seriously even attempting to do that. They haven't gone in the tunnels. They haven't sent special forces in or anything like that. All they're doing is sitting at a distance and blowing up people's homes with their Air Force and artillery. They went into an agricultural sector with their tanks and just started shooting the homes along the beachfront, just regular homes that had already been bombed. They're just knocking things down. They finally went into the urban area. They lost a lot of soldiers. They tucked tail and ran. And so they need more revenge. They'll bomb the south, and they will kill tens of thousands more Palestinians and blame it on the Egyptians for not letting millions of refugees in, rather than blaming themselves, the people actually doing the killing.
And what are your concerns? If it's not realistic that they're going to wipe out Hamas, how far do you think they will take this thing, Ryan?
They say, it's just rhetoric. They're not trying to wipe out Hamas. They're trying to murder Palestinians. That is all. Netanyahu was hanging by a thread. They had 5 different votes when Benny Gantz was in temporarily. Then Netanyahu gets back the reins, but he was only able to do that by making a coalition with the extreme right lunatics. His whole cabinet's a bunch of terrorists, the kind of people that say Palestine doesn't exist, and those kind of people. That's his coalition. So in order to maintain power, to stay out of jail, he had to ally with the devil. And these people don't care. They aren't calling Palestinians animals. They call Palestinian doctors veterinarians. They're absolutely disgusting. This is who he's in bed with. And he doesn't really have a clear plan other than, well, just keep bombing and murdering, because no one's going to step in and save him. It's really disgusting. And they, even if they wanted to get rid of Hamas, they can't. There would just be another generation to replace it. The reason people attack Israel is because Israel routinely annexes their territory, holds them under a tight blockade, and murders their children. Like, who wouldn't fight back? Who wouldn't resist occupation? That is a normal response to that kind of pressure. It's not from brainwashing the youth. It's not from Hamas. It's from the Israeli occupation. It was the same way before Hamas existed, and it's the same way in the West Bank. When you murder people's children, they tend to hate you.
All right, Ryan, stay safe. Always a pleasure to check in with you, pal. Ryan Dawson, their geopolitical analyst, joining us from Seoul, South Korea. Meanwhile, president of the international charity group Doctors Without Borders has recently visited the Palestinian territory.